guys will have to excuse Gator. He's playing with his new toy. I'm watching my buddy's
Sounds
dog.
like you're in a rainforest.
Hello world, and welcome back to Grid. Iron Campbell, the only podcast that puts its money where its mouth is. I'm your host, Rich Ryan, and I'm joined by two members of the collective, Donnie DP Peters, and the resident moose himself, Mo Nawara. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Listeners, rate and review on your podcatcher of choice. Going chalk. 5 stars only, like Jackson Smith in Jigba, one of 4 players in this game. That was a 5-star high school recruit. 2 of these players I've 100% used this season already. The other, I don't believe I have. Can you gentlemen name the 3 other 5-star players in this
Matt
contest?
Collins, Pop Douglas,
No.
and AJ Barner.
Well, you were getting warm. You were getting warm with the receiver group on the New England
Diggs.
Patriots. Because Stephon Diggs was a 5-star athlete going to Maryland.
I'm certain you used JSN earlier this year already.
Yeah, for sure. There's one more on the Hawks and one more on the Patriots.
Christian
Charles
Gonzalez.
Cross.
Charles Cross on the Seahawks. I used him this year previously. And then the other I used last week. I think I used it last week. Or very recently, at least. On the New England Patriots.
Christian
Travion.
Gonzalez.
Wide receiver.
Matt Collins.
Kayshawn Booty. LSU. All right, let's get stuck in. Super Bowl LX. I didn't think we were going to have a dissenting voice. I'm glad we do, because Donnie, once again, 24 hours a day, dialed into WEEI. He is back on Beantown. Patriots all the way. And DP has, before we get into the actual game, has a tremendous story about one of the last times the Hawks, who I should give them some love, were in the Super Bowl. We were in Australia, and a very well-known poker player had a wager on Seattle with whom you discussed it about. So I'll let you spin the tale about Mr. Philip Horatio Ivy.
Yeah, no home Jerome, baby. I got a text the other day from our friend Chad Holloway of a photo of me in my Patriots jersey in a Crown hotel room watching the game. I remember that game happened because when it happens, it's down there at 9 or 10 a.m. And then we went down to the tournament. Ivy goes on to win the $250K challenge. He wins 2.5 million Aussie, which is 1.8 or something USD. Fast forward a couple days. We're leaving Australia. I'm in the line to get onto the plane. Ivy comes walking up behind me. And I say, hello, whatever. He sees the person in front of me, I believe it was a woman, had a Seahawks hat on. And he immediately comments about this Seahawks hat. He says, oh, fucking Seahawks hat. He's immediately just pissed off. And I'm just uh-oh, am I going to get the fucking Wrath of Ivy here and the fucking jetway of the airplane? What are we doing? And he says something along the lines of, I'm the only guy in the world that can win that tournament but lose money on the day. Because I guess he lost more money betting the Seahawks and then whatever. And then I think he caught himself at one point because he was like, you know what, actually, I'm happy to win it. I really am. It does feel good. But yeah, Ivy a little bit tilted seeing that Seahawks hat. And I guess by the math, he lost more than $2 million betting on the Seahawks that day. Thanks to Malcolm Butler, baby.
Well, at least he had the right side.
Yeah. It's so spooky. 2 times. First, that game, Jermaine Kearse makes that unbelievable catch. And then Julio Jones for the Falcons make plays that would have gone down in Super Bowl lore had their teams actually won the games, but they're completely erased from memory because the coin, of course, came up Brady. But the conclusion of the story, DP, is that rumor has it from the scuttlebutt in the studio, Ivy's back in the Hawks.
That's what I heard. They were talking about the Super Bowl the other day. One of the players said, yeah, Ivy's on the Seahawks. And obviously Ivy bet's pretty big. So I can imagine he's on the Hawks. But listen, I think I've heard everyone is on the Hawks. Probably you guys are on the Hawks, which leads me to just pick the Patriots. I am basically blindly picking the Patriots to say F you to everyone else out there because I can't buy into the fact when so many people, I mean, you got Stephen A. on ESPN saying the Seahawks are going to win 60-0.
60-0.
Dude, shut up. Let's just calm down, everyone. So I'm just, out of principle, I am just on the Patriots.
I don't hate it because, yes, 68% of the DraftKings handle right now is on Seattle. Today, offshores, we've gone to a flat 5, even pricing, -110 on each side. Famously, Bill Simmons has coined this the Vegas zone, but the more that we chat about games like this, I want to call it something different. I want to call it the tail feather zone because I feel like if you're going to wager in this game, you should either shake to one side and just bet the money bet line on the dog, or shake to the other side and bet the alternates for the favorite in these spots, rather than take this stale line that's sitting between 3 points and 7 points. And that's what Mo and I have done. And by the way, just because we're saying what sides we're on here doesn't mean this is going to be a 7-minute podcast. Historically, what we like to do here is we want to think about the outcome of the game and then build all of our props based upon that so that you tell a story. And if you are correct, then these things correlate together and you win a lot, as opposed to just, I mean, Donnie knows he's the roulette master. You just don't want to spread your chips blindly around the board and have zero correlation, because then when you hit, you're not going to maximize your win. So Mo and I are both on Seahawks alternates. I've laddered -7.5, -10.5, and -14.5. I got that right away. So, for example, my -14.5 I got at +350, and I'm seeing it as low as +320 right now. So I'm quite happy about getting that early. And the main thing that I think the Patriots are going to have a challenge with is stopping this Seattle Seahawks offense. Drake May is fully capable of creating big plays, creating explosives for New England. We've seen against the Rams that Seattle is not impenetrable, right? Good offenses can create explosive plays against them. But I don't like this Patriots defense. I think they've been feasting off of playing awful offensive lines in the playoffs and a backup quarterback in a blizzard. So I think they're in for a real reality check against a well-coached offense by Clint Kubiak and Sam Darnold, who, I mean, everybody thought he was going to crumble. They didn't see that Rams overtime game early in the season. They thought, oh, it's Sam Darnold. Oh, ghosts. Oh, it's over. He put up a 0.4 EPA per play performance when it mattered at home in the NFC Championship, and I think he can replicate that. So, Mo, pile on with your thoughts behind Hawks alternates.
Yeah, it looks like these are starting to move a bit with the line. My notes had slightly worse prices than I'm seeing today. Looks like FanDuel has the best numbers. You guys will have to excuse Gator. He's playing with his new toy. I'm watching my buddy's dog.
Sounds like you're in a rainforest.
You let Gator do his thing.
You're walking
right?
through the rainforest section at the zoo. This is what this sounds like.
I picked a weird day to give Gator his new squeaky toy. Sorry. Anyways, I see two ways Seattle could lose this game. One of them is a Sam Darnold implosion. The other one is if the Patriots O-line can do what the Rams did and just protect their quarterback and give Drake May time. And that one I have a hard time seeing. This unit hasn't graded out well this year. 24th in adjusted sack rate, at least in the stale number Rich had, because he didn't want to update the sheet for this week.
Buddy,
yeah,
none of these things get updated in the playoffs.
And they're just getting killed in the playoffs, man. If it's possible to be worse than that in the playoffs, they've definitely been worse. I mean, and I don't think Drake May's helping. Dude, his reactions to pressure have been terrible so far in the playoffs, just holding the ball way too long when he is pressured. So I think just they're going to lose up front, I think. I mean, I think Sean McVay and the Rams, I think they've tricked everybody into thinking this Seahawks defense is beatable when it's really not. Their O-line was so good in that game, and just I don't think a team like the Patriots can do that. And then it's just like you look at the Patriots up front running the ball. This has been a dreadful rushing team all year. I don't see any way they can really run the ball on Seattle. So that basically just leaves the Darnold implosion for me. Could it happen? Yeah, I mean, it definitely could. I think the bad Darnold, but it's like you said, Rich, the bad Darnold games are probably going to often end in Patriots wins. So I just don't see the utility of taking the points, I guess. And then on the other side, I think the good Darnold games are usually going to be double-digit Seahawks wins. So I don't like playing the regular line in this one. Little bit of a wild card in this game I'm looking at is the weather. It looks like it could rain. I think that favors the Seahawks, man. Just like looking at these last few weeks, the way Drake May, I think that, North Carolina boy played in the ACC. I know that like Sam Darnold went to USC or whatever, but like watching Drake May in these games, I don't think he's reacting well to the elements. So I just feel like that if anybody is going to be favored by that, it's probably Seattle. So like 32% chance of rain, I think it said, which usually probably means it's going to rain at some point during the game. But I think Seattle's the side, and I think the under. So I wanted to go up to like 17.5 when I was looking at some of the alternates, but the more I've looked at this game, the more I think it's probably going to be on the lower scoring end. So maybe I just stop at like 10.5 or something. I don't know. I think under 45.5, minus 105 at DK, it seems pretty good to me. I just think because of both offensive lines potentially struggling, as long as the quarterbacks aren't giving the other team short fields, this could be lower scoring than 45.
I think the game under and player unders as well. I think we're safe to wait closer to game time to try to fire those. This being the highest volume football game that will be bet on all year. So I think that's a strategy that we can likely employ. Donnie is with you on that under, by the way. And I'll kick it to you, Donnie, because some of your player props here are on the side that Mo was saying is the outcomes in which the Patriots win are Darnold implosion games. So that is why one of your props is that the savior, Sammy, will throw an interception.
Yeah, I have the over on 0.5 interceptions for Darnold. I think a couple of things in combination here. One, he threw a lot of picks during the regular season, or during the season, so it's in him.
Led the league in turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I know a lot of people are. It seems like a lot of people are willing to now just say Darnold's gotten over that hump. Like he's now a big game player because he's gone through this playoffs. I personally think that you're never fully there until you get all the way there, and this needs to be all the way there. Meaning he needs to win the Super Bowl for him to prove it to me. Like I think it's still in him, at least to some non-0%, that he could have some bad throws and some turnovers. Now, is he going to totally implode and have a horrible 3-turnover game and like they get blown out? I mean, okay, maybe no, but if I combine that with, I think the Patriots front on defense can get after him. I think Vrabel is going to coach it up where he's going to try and give him a lot of issues, different looks, bring blitzes, etc., which can just kind of make everything very confusing for Darnold. And I personally think that it's going to be hard for the Seahawks to run against this Patriots defense. I think that's their strength, the Patriots defense, is stopping the run. And that's going to put the ball in Sam Darnold's hands more, meaning he's got more pass attempts, more opportunities to throw an interception. So that's where I'm coming at it with the Sam Darnold over interceptions.
Of course, being on alts, Mo is on the other side of this, happy to take the 10 cents of value on the plus 110 of Darnold, no INT.
Yeah, I like no INT, so that's funny. Donnie's definitely correct that Sam Darnold made throwing interceptions a habit during the regular season, but he hasn't done that lately, and that's where I'm looking that can be variance, but I'm looking at these sack numbers and just the way he played, and I don't think it is. I think he's making a conscious trade-off of sacks for turnover-worthy throws, essentially. I saw one bad throw the entire game against the Rams, but meanwhile, he has taken multiple sacks in many of these recent games. 4 of his 8 highest sack rates were in the last 8 games, and 3 of his 6 highest sack rates of the season were in the last 6 games. So I think he's consciously eating the ball as kind of a veteran move here, and just
drive
knowing
killers
his team
are not as bad as game killers. It's
not
so evident.
just not trying to do what's his name, Old Stidham did in the Max Brosmer special. So if Rich is right that he's turned a corner after the fourth quarter or into the fourth quarter of that Rams game, I mean, he's had 1 pick in these 4 games since then, right? So I think there's something going on there, and I think he might eat a couple sacks that maybe he would have risked tossing the ball into the ether earlier in the season.
So that last regular season game against the Niners was the most emblematic of this, because it was this ugly 13-3 brutal game to watch. And on the surface, it's going to be like, where's the Darnold that's pushing the ball downfield, making plays? But if you dig into the efficiency of that game, Darnold's like 0.1 EPA per play in that game, because he just didn't blow it, right? He just took what was given to him, moved the ball, and didn't make these massive mistakes in a spot where it was kind of Coin Brady-like, where he just, if the other team isn't going to get more than 3 points, like, why would I blow it and put my team in harm's way? We're waxing poetic about the Seattle quarterback, but I have not bet this yet because I don't have access to retails and it's not available on the books that I use, but I have it pinned, and it's Drake May most completions minus 105, because I think in a lot of the outcomes, even that we're talking about, Seahawks blowouts, well, that means I think the Hawks are going to do a lot of turning and handing, keep the clock rolling, fewer attempts for Darnold, and May, obviously in a negative script, will be throwing the ball a ton. But even in games where I think it is competitive, I think that it's going to be because the Patriots offense is crushing it, right? Like the outcomes where I see the Patriots having success in this game aren't as weighted towards Seattle screwing up as much as they're weighted towards Drake May being the guy who some people think should be the MVP of the league. And it's just a guy that just goes out and has a game like Stafford just did and throws for 300 plus, and it's just absolutely killing it on the biggest stage. So I think,
is that a 2-way market or a 3-way market?
It was a 2-way market. It was on DraftKings that I saw. It was May minus 105, and it was Darnold minus 120. So I like the May side there. I think a lot of the outcomes here are May completing more passes than Sam Darnold. And in that same vein, if my grander scheme is that the Hawks are going to win this game by double digits, then I think the Hawks are going to play. They already love playing cover 6, but they're going to play a lot of deep zone. Don't let the big plays to Kayshon Boutte and Ryan Williams or Stephon Diggs happen. And there's going to be a ton of dump offs to Hunter Henry. So the Rams in their 2 games against Seattle targeted the tight end position 20 times in those 2 games. So I have a Hunter Henry reception ladder in up to 9 receptions at 22-1, because why not? We've seen this story before. Patriots quarterback dumping his way through 16 minutes of football to somebody near the line of scrimmage. Let's kick it to DP. DP, we'll keep it on the Seahawks side of the ball, but we'll talk running back. If you think the Hawks will have less success, then it makes sense that you think K9 is going to struggle a little bit on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the strength of this Patriots defense is stopping the run. And to me, I think they're going to have to put the ball in Darnold's hands, and he's going to need to attempt the ball a bit more. I also think overall this game is going to be kind of rock fighty. I know you guys are on the alt, so you don't necessarily agree. But if it's rock fighty, like I think we're going to see a lot of 3 and outs, not really long extended drives with 12 to 15 plays, stuff like that, which means less chances for Kenneth Walker. So I'm on the under on 18.5 rushing attempts. I'm also on the under on 73.5 rushing yards. Obviously, with Kenneth Walker, you do have to always fade the big run that he can break. But I just think that the Patriots are basically going to approach this one. They're going to try and put the ball in Darnold's hands. They're going to try and confuse him with things, but that starts with taking away the run game for Kenneth Walker. Now, I know the backup running back, Charbonnet, is hurt, so it's going to lead to a little bit more of a share load for Kenneth Walker, but he's more like around 13, 14 rushing attempts over the regular season, and it wasn't until these playoffs that he started to hit the number of 19. So, I think it's going to be hard for him to get there. Now, of course, if it does go your guys' way and they are turning and handing the rock, I'm probably going to lose this, right? But I again, going back to your original point, Rich, I definitely think that there's, through all 3 of our bets and the way we're approaching this, you can see common trends of hey, this is how we see the game is going to play out. This is how we're going to approach it. And we're going to build everything around that. And in a great ideal world, whatever wins, we scoop it all. That's how you want it to happen.
Well, and to your point about K9 only getting so many touches, Kubiak's kind of married to his system. And Sharbs went down, and something Holani came in and played 34% of the snaps. He is just on the field. They have a rotation.
But they wouldn't give him the ball, god damn it, because I had Holani over 9.5 yards or something. All they did was throw it to him.
Well, here's the thing. That's why, and this is my next wager off of that, I've got Holani over 20.5 receiving and rushing, minus 115. He got to 30 in the contest that we were both referring to. And again, if I think that a lot of this game is going to be the Hawks leading, that's going to mean a lot of turning and handing, which means Holani is going to be spelling because they don't like giving K9 more than X amount of carries to keep him fresh. So that's why I like that. And then the one Walker bet I did make was fourth quarter rushing over 13.5 yards. Again, if I think the Seahawks are going to be in the lead, I think there's going to be a lot of turning and handing. I think he clears that number. Mo also has a Seahawks rushing wager, but it's a little more exotic, and I absolutely love it. Mo, tell us how many ball carriers there are going to be for the Hawks in this game.
I smashed this in the last couple Chiefs Super Bowls, and I'm just back to the well here. By the way, I just want to say I feel like it's just so much easier to shop these props when your favorite team is in the Super Bowl. You just are so much more dialed into everything they do. And then it was harder for me this year. I wasn't able to dig up as much stuff. Just didn't feel as you just when you watch every one of a team's game, you can just predict how they're going to approach these spots and whatnot. So I do still like under 4.5 Seahawks with a rush here, though. It is minus 150, so you're going to have to lay some juice. That one is on DK. I mean, it's not even certain. Some of these guys who are mathematically expected. It's not 100% sure that Darnold runs the ball. He's ran the ball in more games than not, but it's not for sure. And it's the same thing with Shaheed. And then, even if he does, Darnold ran the ball in about 60% of their games. Shaheed was more like 80. But even if all these guys run it with Holani, you're still sitting 4. And it's just hard for me to see them going past that, I guess. You look at I think when you're the favored team here, it's just you're less likely to pull out some crazy fake punt or triple reverse to WR4 or whatever else it might be, So I just feel like I do always kind of, maybe this is too many years of watching the Patriots, but I just am always ready for trick plays in the Super Bowl because of the Patriots would seemingly always pull out at least one. But I don't see the Seahawks trying that here. It wouldn't surprise me for sure if Vrabel did. I mean, we know where Vrabel comes from, and I will say I looked hard at plus 160 for over 2.5 passers in the game. That's on DK, and that is quite a bit off the rest of the market. I think everyone else is sitting more like plus 120 on that. So if you are of the mind that Vrabel is going to try something, DK's got over 2.5 passers plus 160, and I don't think that's the worst bet in the world.
Yeah, I honestly think the biggest person you're fading in this market is the AJ Barner tush push, right? Because, like you said, it seems likely if you grab a game out of a hat that there's going to be a running attempt from the two backs, Darnold and Shaheed, right? That if you just grab a random game, that's your most likely combo of 4. So you're just fading the AJ Barner tush push. But the good thing is that you, like you said, there are outs to neither Darnold nor Shaheed ever having a carry in this game. So that interests me. And speaking of Barner, this is the one positive thing that I see on the sheet from DP when it comes to the Seattle Seahawks.
Well, I mean, I got him in 3 positive things. I got him over 2.5 receptions because I think the Patriots are smart enough, led by Mike Vrabel, that if you're playing defense, and Vrabel is obviously a defensive-minded head coach, what's the number one thing you have to do in the biggest game in the planet? You have to shut down JSN. Okay? So then once you do that, okay, I mean, if they do that, right? I mean, but they can put Christian Gonzalez on them, they can scheme it up, etc. I think they're going to do their damnedest with it, not just leave whoever it is out there on an island and let JSN run them up. I think Darnold's going to be forced to look at the tight end, Barner, who can be seen as basically a safety blanket in a lot of spots. So I'm going to look for him to be targeted quite a bit. Yeah, I mean, I like Barner in a lot of spots. I like him for first TD as well, coupled with going against what Mo said, just the tush push thing, which I think I looked up and they call it the barnyard. So, I'm in. Team barnyard right here. Let's go. Just cram it in, baby. Let's make it happen. So,
and the other under rush bet that correlates to what you were saying, Mo, is the fact that you're taking shortest touchdown over 1.5 plus 120. That correlates with the fact that you would be fading the tush push altogether.
Yeah, for sure. I will say on Barner, the one thing I would be careful of is if Elijah Arroyo ends up playing more of a role again. I guess they activated him off IR, I believe, last week, but then he didn't play. So he was actually a part of the offense earlier in the season. So I could see him eating into some of Barner's work there, just depending. I don't know how much they want to throw in a cold guy like that, though, in obviously the biggest spot they're ever going to be in. But yeah, I mean, this one I was able to find plus 120 at Caesars, which seems pretty good to me. Over 1.5 for the shortest touchdown. Part of it is just I don't expect there to be a lot of touchdowns. I like the game under, as I said, so that correlates with there being less chance of a 1-yard touchdown. And just like we talked about earlier, the matchups up front, I think it just favors the defense on both sides of the ball. I don't think these teams are going to have a lot of short yardage success. So even if they do get to the 1, I don't think it's for certain that they're going to be able to punch it in, as Rich well knows when it comes to the Patriots.
Man alive. All right, you said his name multiple times. It's kind of like the Candyman. I think this third one, he might show up with his bare feet and walk all over us. Matt Collins, DP. You like his overs?
I mean, I'm a Matt Collins sucker. What do you want me to say? He's just the new guy. He's my new. Remember we were just always on the Mahomes over rushing? I'm just always going to be on the Matt Collins is going to get 2 to 3 catches a game in big spots because he's just a hard-nosed football player that gets it done, busts his ass. So it's like broken play or something. Matt Collins is out there running around, not giving up. So I'm just going to take the over on 24.5 receiving yards. Now, I do get timid when I look at his receptions, so I want to stay away from that because he can get that on 1 or 2 passes. And generally when they throw to Matt Collins,
he just runs a 30-yard seamer and then
exactly.
He gets his total.
It's always some 20-yard play. Like what was it? Last game or the game before they ran the flea flicker to Matt Collins. It's always something like that. So I don't know if he's going to get 3 receptions and go over the 2.5, but I'm pretty sure he's going to get a long reception, which is also why I'm on his longest reception is going to over 11.5. I feel like that's a really good one as well. And he could knock both of these out with the way that, they funnel the ball to him in certain situations. And in a lot of ways, he's kind of a safety blanket, like a last resort that Mac really trusts. So if the Seattle defense, which is really good in the secondary, is able to shut down the Diggs, the Booty, etc., well, go to Mac. Go to your safety guy. Let's go. Make it happen.
And the master of the wheel route as well. This is a sneaky one. You like
Mac is
Ramondre's-
he's a guy who he is not scared to go over the middle. Like, he's not. He doesn't give a shit. Like,
yeah. We'll talk about Ramondre. You like Ramondre's over 3.5 receptions.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's going to be hard for the Patriots to throw the ball. Like, one, I kind of have no idea what to expect from Drake May, but then you have the shoulder thing, so I'm just kind of confused by the whole thing. Maybe it's just smoke and mirrors, and it's ultimately going to be nothing. And I know people are saying, with the way that he's played these last 3 games, well, look at the weather. I mean, I don't know, man. The weather hasn't been like that bad. And in the first half of that Broncos game, he wasn't that good, and the weather was fine. So, like, I mean, and this is a really, really good defense. And they're really, really good on the outside in the secondary. So, if I think similar to how I think with Matt Collins, they're going to be working to shut down Booty, especially like a deep ball to him. They're going to be shutting down Diggs as best they can. Well, I think there's just going to be a lot of dump-offs to Ramondre Stevenson in there. And I think Ramondre is the guy I think he's trusted more than Travion Henderson. He's going to be in there and pass pro more, and in those cases, if nothing's open, I think it's been made clear from the coaching staff for Drake May to, listen, don't put the ball in harm's way. Take the safe stuff, check it down, do what you got to do. And I think that really feeds into Ramondre Stevenson over 3.5 receptions, which has gone up because I originally saw it at 2.5, and now it's 3.5. But I'll still be in on it.
Mo likes Hendo. Thinks Vrabel's finally going to do the right thing and give Barry Sanders the ball.
Yeah, it's funny. I go the other way than what Donnie's saying here. I know that everything he's saying was basically what happened in the last game. By the way, I think I'm going to tail you on that Mac Hollins 11.5. That seems pretty low to me. I think I'm going to be in there. He's favored to catch 2 balls. One of them won't go for 11 plus yards. Anyways, when it comes to Hendo, I'm looking at the way the workload has shook out, basically, and I'm looking at last week, and to me, we are just getting a way, way lower price on Hendo's numbers than we should be because of one game. And that game was a goofy game, right? I mean, weren't the Patriots playing with the lead most of the way? I think they just knew that Jarrett Stidham probably wasn't going to score another point. Their only goal, instead of getting yards and scoring points, was to prevent something catastrophic from happening. That's how I feel when I look at because it was like 25 touches to 3 or something. And that's not how they've been playing in the prior games. So you just look at these other games. I mean, 20 touches to 13 versus Houston. That's obviously in favor of Ramondre. And then 13 to 10 in favor of Ramondre in the Chargers game. So I just think that split was a product entirely of the ridiculous game they found themselves in, which wasn't going to resemble any other game. And that's why the distribution between the 2 players didn't resemble any of the other games. So I think they're going to go back to what they were doing before, which is especially Vrabel's not, I mean, okay, maybe he can be an idiot sometimes, but he's smart enough. Like, he knows they're underdogs, like he knows they need yards. They need big plays here. This isn't like the Denver game. We need to be nits, protect our stack, satellite into the main event. No, you need a big play here. He understands that this is against the best defense in the NFL, and he needs to make something happen. I think Henderson's going to get some work here, and we are just getting ridiculously low numbers after what happened last week. But that being said, I will say these are on the move. So maybe get on these quick because I looked last night. It was 24.5. It's 24.5 rushing plus receiving pretty much across the board now. So it's starting to go up a little bit. Hendo receiving yards somehow did not move, though, on FanDuel. That's sitting at 2.5, which he probably only needs 1 catch to go over that. So, I like 2.5 receiving yards, and I like 24.5 rushing plus receiving yards for Trevion.
I went to just go bet Matt Collins, longest. My offshore, it's over 15.5 minus 121. So I will
Where
not
did you
be-
dig that one up, Donnie?
not be
Might have
making
been
that
here
wager.
in Vegas. I was looking, I looked around on FanDuel for some stuff, and then I looked at the various Vegas books here. Might have been a Vegas one, I can't remember.
All right, let's get to some fun ones. Donnie's got a bunch of first touchdown. I was looking at the first touchdown market, and I initially, because I'm betting the Hunter Henry ladder, I was like, he would be a good candidate. But at plus 1,600, I just wasn't enthralled by that. And then I saw a guy who's been getting a third of the snaps on offense for the Patriots, save for last week when they played in a blizzard and they went I formation halfback dive for an entire half of football. And that's Ryan Williams, the burner from Oklahoma, who has a 70-yarder this year. Kyle. Did I say Ryan Williams? Kyle Williams.
You said Ryan earlier, too.
Yeah,
Did
you
I really?
did. That was a different player, I think. And I think
Isn't
that
he
guy
currently on Alabama, Ryan Williams? Or is that somebody else?
Buddy,
I think you're right about that.
Isn't Ryan Williams
Okay,
the current
that-
player on Alabama? Yeah. There it is. Sorry, Kyle. He already has a 70-yarder this
I also
year
think
against Tampa.
this
Go.
guy went to Washington State, if I'm
Did he not
remembering
go to
right. I don't know
Oklahoma?
where you're pulling Oklahoma out.
All right, now we have to pause. Not literally, but all right, we're going Ryan.
We don't
Not
got to
Ryan.
pause anything. Well, let's just keep it going.
Kyle Williams, college football.
Washington State. He went to UNLV first.
Oh, see, I knew he wore red.
You're on a roll,
listen, this
Rich.
guy is so non-existent. This is
why.
fitting.
This is why.
Okay.
This is why he's 75 to 1 on FanDuel to score the first touchdown in the
And
game.
let me just call Donnie out. I think Donnie's spouting fake news here. I'm seeing 14.5, 15.5, 16.5 on these Matt Collins props. Donnie got me all excited. I knew that line was fake.
Maybe it's Caesars. Remember Caesars? Caesars was the Sabre. This is a real tangent.
Listen,
But
these Vegas books are on a freaking island, okay, man? Like, they are all over the place.
remember mid-January when the Sabres had won, whatever, a bazillion games in a row and people in the chat were talking about Sabres Stanley Cup and they were plus 6,000 everywhere. And then Caesars was just hanging a stale plus 12,000. So a bunch of people have Sabres 120 to 1 to win the cup in the Discord, bit.ly/Discord moves. But Kyle Williams from Wazoo, 75 to 1 to score the first touchdown on FanDuel. And when I saw this and had the wager put in, I was also thinking, well, if he's going to score the first touchdown, it's likely going to be on a long play. So what are other things that I can correlate with this to try to hit a home run? And boy, oh boy, I'm not going for a home run. I'm going for like a triple grand slam because I stuck it with most receiving yards in the game and it spit out 920 to 1. So why not? Let's just score. Let's just hit a 70-yarder in the first quarter and then we're sweating
I'm
this
with
out.
Donnie. Put it with MVP. I mean, make it,
Make it
$1 to win
900,000 to
25,000.
Yeah, who cares?
So that is that. Donnie has a few more realistic options. This is roulette Donnie. Looking for
I wouldn't call
guys.
3 of them realistic, okay? I'm on AJ Barner. That's the most realistic one. And, obviously you get him in the tight end role catching balls, but if they're down at the 1 or the 2 and they go to the barnyard tush push, I mean, seems great for me. Seems bad for Mo's rushing bet, but great for me. I do like what you said earlier, Mo, about Elijah Arroyo. I looked him up. I was like, oh, is he back? He's back. He didn't play he dressed last week, but didn't play. So I think people have forgotten about him. His first TD is at 4,500. And he's had 5 or 6 red zone targets throughout the season when he's in there. So I don't know. Does Clint Kubiak cook something up for Arroyo? Like, let's go. And then on the other side of the ball, I always like to balance things, just try and cover it. I got Pop Douglas, who gets a fair amount of red zone targets for the Patriots. And if some of these better receivers on the Patriots are going to be locked down, then, don't be surprised to see Pop Douglas get that first TD. I got him at plus 3,000. And then Austin Hooper. Everyone's on Hunter Henry, but I'm going to Austin Hooper. The hell with it. The other tight end, plus 35.
They do love those stupid crossers to pop down at the inside the 5.
Yes, always. Let's go.
All right. My bet's crazy. This bet is bonkers. But to be fair, Mo, I've never heard the national media, the mom and pop, anybody who covers football say a defensive tackle's name as much as I've heard them say this dude's name leading up to this Super Bowl.
Yeah, you're talking my Milton Williams play here. If you made me pick a long shot MVP, I don't mind this play. And somebody else doesn't mind it either because this one's already coming down as well. I saw 250-1 yesterday. I believe it was at Caesars. Looks like it's down to 225-1, and FanDuel has the best price now. So somebody hit Milton MVP somewhere. I think if I'm remembering right, it was Caesars, but I don't remember for sure. But just basically based on the fact that the weak point of this Seattle offensive line, everybody's been talking about it. It is in the middle. Milton Williams is back and looking tremendous the last few games. He was destroying some of these poor offensive lines they were playing. So I could see a multi-sack game for him. I could see the Patriots. If I truly believe that the Patriots wins come in low-scoring games, which I do, because I think they have to just destroy this Seahawks offensive line, then I could see Milton Williams having a big day here. And if the Patriots win something like 20-17 or 17-14 or something like that, maybe Milton Williams sneaks in there as I'm 250-1. I mean, well, I guess 225 now. So someone's getting after it.
DP's got 2 MVP long shots that he's sprinkling on.
Yeah, I'll hit on AJ Barner first. Just my thinking is, listen, if this guy can get like a tush-push touchdown, catch another one, get 5 receptions
Philly special.
for 8,
Philly special throws one.
Yeah, he's in there, man. Like, come on, he's 150-1. I mean, why not? To me, it's only fun to bet MVP if it's a long shot. Like, that's just the most fun. And then my other one is Marcus Jones. Marcus Jones could pick a ball off and run it back. We've seen that. He returns punts. He's really damn good at that. Like, if this is going to be what I think is going to be a low-scoring kind of grudge match, then part of those outcomes is going to, lean into success on special teams, and Marcus Jones is that guy. So if he returns a punt, gets a pick, maybe he comes off like a corner blitz and gets a sack, something like that, and the quarterbacks don't ultimately, do anything, seems great to me. 100-1 for Marcus Jones. Let's go.
I am a sucker for special teams MVP bets. In the Super Bowl, having bet Percy Harvin plus 3,500 in the Denver Super Bowl and watching him take the opening kickoff in the second half back and thinking I had life, but no, I did not have enough life to bring that one home. I've got no additional MVP bets. I'm just going to be sweating out my Nick Emenwari 400-1 that I bet at the beginning of the playoffs. They gave me a scare this week with this ankle injury, but sounds like it is a low sprain that they'll be able to stick some horse tranks in there and get him going and ready for the game. So we'll be sweating out Nick Emenwari on Sunday. And that is the Super Bowl. DP, what's it like? What's it like to just go to, what is this? Is this 12? Is this 12 Super Bowls in the last?
I mean, it's so high. I don't
too many to
can't
count.
Yeah. I don't care that much anymore, but when people like you, Jets fans, bring it up, I mean, it warms my heart a little bit. It does. I mean, but this year is I still don't think this Patriots team is that good. I mean, I know the Seahawks are good, but kind of going back to Mo's point where when you're not a supporter of the team and you're not following them every single week and doing all that sort of stuff, I'm looking through both these rosters, I'm like, who the hell are half these people? Outside of the big names, Kenneth Walker, JSN, Drake May, Darnold, Stefan Diggs, you're like, who the hell? People are going to turn the TV on. Who the hell's Pop Douglas? What the hell? What's this? What's that? Who's Torrey, Holden, whatever the hell his name? No one knows who these people are. But I mean, that's it's kind of cool, but it's also you don't have that star power. So I don't know. I feel like the Patriots kind of they got really lucky with a lot of breaks. They did? I know. But listen, I'm not going to sit here and fight you like a lot of quote-unquote Patriots fans will fight you on that sort of stuff. Yes, I do agree. You can only play the teams that are in front of you. That is totally true. But you also, that path can still be easy. And it was easy. And it was very easy in the playoffs as well. And now, this could be easy. Like, I could make the argument that this is kind of easy. You got a guy in Darnold who could totally crap his pants, right? Like, he's got one, like, legit number one wide receiver, and then it's kind of like a bunch of other guys that they get the job done because they're a really good team. But, like, I would say I would have not wanted, as a Patriots fan, to play the Rams more so than the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are more gettable in this spot. I don't know. I worry about the offense.
The Rams defense just disappeared in the second half.
Yeah, and their special teams is an absolute disaster. But I don't know. I think it just seems kind of like a down year in a way in terms of the star power aspect. So yeah. I don't know.
Honestly, I think one of the stars that's going to come out of this game, and it might not be recognized right away, but I think it might be when he goes to Las Vegas and kind of has an instant impact with a rookie quarterback in Fernando Mendoza that I think will be able to make some plays. I think Clint Kubiak is just him, man. And it goes back to last year, those first 2 weeks with the Saints, where everybody was healthy before Derek Carr died. And the Saints, they looked like the 99 Rams. Their EPA per play was like off the chart. They broke every metric, and then everybody got hurt. Shaheed got hurt, Derek Carr got hurt, and everything fell to shit. But I think Kubiak is just him. And I don't think it matters what New England's plan is, per se, for like JSN. I think Kubiak's just going to have him like a queen on a chessboard wherever they think the matchup can be exploited on the offensive side. And most of the times when you're in offense, you are the hammer and you get to dictate. And I think that JSN will be able to have success regardless.
I'm just going to piggyback on that and say that I think Josh McDaniels is similar, but for an OC. Like, we've obviously seen the whole head coach thing with him, and it hasn't worked out. But this guy just cooks as an OC. He does. Like, that is what he was born on this earth to do. Like, be an offensive coordinator, put these people in great spots, because the Patriots offense is not talented. Like, yes, Drake May is really good, but they are not that good at all. The offensive line is extremely sketchy. The weapons are not that great. Even like Stephon Diggs, yeah, he's a big name, but post-injury, he's a shell of what he once was. So, but Josh is just scheming. And like, he's done this over and over and over again in this role. Now, when he goes to be on a head coach, he ain't that guy. But as an offensive coordinator, he's pretty darn great.
Very excited. All right, fellas. I don't know when we'll speak next on the air. We'll get some draft props going. But follow these guys at Monora, N-U-W-W-A-R. Wow. N-U-W-W-A-R-A-H at Donnie_Peters. I'm at Rich G. Ryan. Give our buddy Brett a follow. Brett Colson, C-O-L-L-S-O-N, and follow at Gridiron Gamble. Enjoy the game, the commercials, the bad bunny. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.